another video. This one is a slightly overdue video. I took a week off because I just had way too much stuff going on and just didn't really have any time to be carrying around a camera, filming, and I had another project that I was working on, so just didn't really have particularly too much time. So the thing that I was wanting to talk about in this video is that you may or may not know that I have been working on a live action video game that is going to be completely filmed in real life. It's not going to be motion capture, it's all going to be real life filmed footage. We've been working on it for a few months now. We're going to try and get it out in the next few months as well. We're giving ourselves a very, very short time frame to work within, but by doing that, we're making sure that we're actually giving ourselves a strict deadline, and we're just gonna make sure that we make it, because we've had projects in the past that have blown out in proportion and have just not been completed, not been made. So giving ourselves a deadline is ensuring that we're actually going to create it. The thing I'm very excited about today is that we have a spreadsheet, a multi-page spreadsheet with every single different variation of scene that we're going to be filming in this project. In the top of it, we've also got a progress bar that counts how many things we filled out in accordance with the goal, and it adds it all up and gives us a percentage tally. The other day, we reached 100. We reached 100%. Let's just, I don't know whether you can see this. Look at that. 100%. So we have reached the 100% mark. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're done 100% with the game. We still have to film everything. We also still have to write out vague scripts for the actors that we're getting in to follow along with, so that if we struggle a little bit with their improvising, then they have a script to follow. So there's still that work to do, but it should be relatively simple, seeing that we've got it all written out on this document. The only other thing that we have to do that's not counted in that percentage is writing one of the other characters, all of their dialogue, which is on, as of right now, it's looking like I'm going to be done by the end of today. I'm very excited. There's a lot going on at the moment, and this is just, it's good to see the progress on what we're actually doing. I think in the process of making this project, it's been good to have that visual indicator of how far through production we're getting. When we finish writing out the full script so that the actors can follow through with it, that will also probably help, because that's a visual indicator of like how much work we've actually done. It will be very interesting to see that, because it's going to be like 400 pages just stacked up. And that way we, can look at that document and say like, well, yeah, like we did this, we like completed all of this work, and it only took us like a few months. Like, there's a lot of work to be doing. So yeah, there's a lot of things progressing at the moment, which is very, very exciting. On Saturday, I will be releasing the documentary and the mini-documentary for the pop-up restaurant that I made couple of weeks ago. But yeah, other than that, there's nothing too crazy going on right now. I'm just catching up on some work. I have a video going on in the background so that I've just got something going on, and then yeah, that's about it for today, but we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Okay, so the other day I was talking about the progress that we've made on writing the game, and I wanted to just quickly come through and briefly show how we formatted this whole thing. For context, if you don't know, I'm in the middle of making a live-action party game, kind of in the style of Cards Against Humanity, mixed with a little bit of the Jackbox Party Pack. We're not trying to take ourselves too seriously, so the theme of the game is 1990s VHS training tapes, and in the spirit of 1990s training tapes, we're trying to make it as goofy as possible, so not a lot of this game is going to be taking itself too seriously. So for the first phase of the game, we have this entire spreadsheet written out with all the different scenes marked down on it, and they've got hyperlinks all the way through it so that you can click through and go to separate pages, but it's very well organized, and there's been a tally at the top of it which now reads 100% completed, which is super duper fun. It's what I spoke about earlier in the video, and I just wanted to just briefly go over what this spreadsheet means and how we've actually gone through this and created something like this. Okay, so right here we've got the main spreadsheet. We've got a couple of extra ideas that we ended up scrapping down the bottom here, and then further down we've got additional companies that we could make in the future, but we will just gauge how this project goes to begin with. But at the very top, this is what we're looking at here. This is our main spreadsheet, and we've got every single module underneath here. There's 3 that are common, 3 there, 3 there, and then so on and so forth all the way down. There's a couple of variations here, but we don't go into too much detail on all of this. And then all through here, every single one of these is a hyperlink. And then when you click into those, it takes you to separate pages where we've got every single scene written out individually with a vague prompt and a in detail prompt. And then as we go through every single one of these, they're all completely filled out. They're organized into appropriate answers, borderline unprofessional, and then just completely unprofessional and just wild and wacky. The point of this project is not to make a very serious piece of media. We wanted to really lean into the just absurdist humor and just not take ourselves too seriously, essentially, because when it comes down to it, we're just guys who are really into film, who work with video as a profession, and we're just trying to step into the video game space. With that, we've got everything completely finished in that part of the project. We have to go into a little bit more detail with the actual writing, but that's pretty much where we're at in terms of this. We can start filming the actual project very, very soon, and that will be happening in the next 2 months. I'm really excited to see where this ends up going. Because it's good to just see the project come to life, and it's quite a big milestone, so I just wanted to kind of showcase what we're actually doing, because I've not spoken too much about what I'm actually creating. And I feel like there's probably some people that are a little bit confused. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to showcase was the mini documentary that I made a couple of weeks ago. So the video ended up coming out over the past weekend, and I ended up making a slightly longer version as well, so it ended up being 13 minutes long, just to see if I could actually put together something a little bit longer in length. So I just wanted to showcase how I put the project together in the timeline, because I put it together quite quickly, all things considered, and I just wanted to showcase how I was able to do that. This is the entire timeline for the 3-minute video that I made over on the other channel. I will link that in the description. The most important thing that I found when I was putting this one together is understanding the pacing of the video and understanding the story that I was trying to tell. So the most important thing for making this was having the spine built out first. And by the spine, I mean having all of the storytelling aspects of the video and the flow of it already pre-planned, and then I can build everything else around that. It's kind of like, I mean, it's very self-explanatory. It's like the spine of your body. Basically, I had an intro idea, so that was actually the first thing that I did. I made this intro and then had this all planned out, and once I had that in the project, I could then work on the pacing for the rest of it. So then I went through the entire 30-minute interview, and I cut out all of the bits that I wanted to use, put it into this timeline, and then had it all, I think it ended up being about 7 or 8 minutes all up. So once I have all of the talking points in the timeline, I can then move them around, extend them out, shorten them, cut the dead air out of an individual clip, and then essentially just have the baseline video with no B-roll or anything like that. So having that spine was very important for being able to work on this video and then kind of mold everything around it. Weirdly enough, this is a little bit unconventional because you shouldn't be doing this so early into a project. But as the next step of this process, I ended up actually putting in the music, because once I was happy with the flow of the talking pieces, I wanted to put the music in so that I could dip the volume and bring it back up for the B-roll and then dip it again, and I knew that it sounded good with the music, because even though the interview clips will sound good in isolation, a lot of my editing work is based around the music and the flow of the music, so I wanted to make sure that it worked with that first. So I went through and tweaked a few things, extended a few things out, and then that essentially solidified the spine of the video so that I could go in and add in all of the B-roll clips, which was the next part of this process. I had a few ideas for little clips that I wanted to do. So this little intro piece here, when I was filming it, I kind of had the idea in my head and wanted to execute it in the edit. And it ended up working really well with the flow of the intro. So basically, once I had the spine planned out and in the timeline, it was pretty self-explanatory to go through the rest of the video and just fill in the video with clips that made sense. So in this little section over here, in this little bit of the video, he is talking about the food is all about colors and textures and mouthfeel. So in this little bit, I got some clips of all of the different ingredients in their little containers that were very, very vibrant in color, and then you put that over the top because it makes sense to show something like that in that exact moment. The rest of this is very, very easy because you just go through the clips that you've already filmed and then you just line them up with whatever he's saying. It's not overly complicated, it's all just very self-explanatory, but it's just a little bit time-consuming because if you forget about the clips that you've captured, then you have to go back through all of the clips that you've captured and remember what you've filmed. That's why keeping these filming sessions short is very important, because then you can kind of recount what you've actually captured throughout the night. Once everything is all planned out, I think the last thing I wanted to do was just go through the timeline and add in sound effects, just to kind of assist the visuals and go alongside the interview. It's small little details that you don't really notice when you're listening to the video, but they add so much depth to the storytelling. So it's just those last little details that you can add in after the fact, and it just elevates how a video is perceived and just adds another extra layer to it. And I think it's just a nice touch because it feels like a little bit more care went into the project. I forgot to record the outro for this video, so just quickly doing that now. Those are basically the two main things that I've got going on at the moment with the video game progress and the documentary that I released. I'm excited about both of them a lot, and I hope there was a little bit of insight that came from that video, but let me know if this is at all interesting content in the slightest. I personally would be interested in this if I was watching this channel, but each their own. Thanks for watching though, I do appreciate it, and I will see you soon, hopefully. I've been looking at the playback the whole time, not the camera, so anyway, bye, love you.